Next little thing I want to do is just give it a little bit more life. I'm coming in now with 202, which is standard iron. It's already in my colour cup. We're going to take our nicely finished natural metal finish of the dark iron. As you can see, just inside there as well, I've been doing also in there. Just to let you know, to get inside I used a cotton wool bud, and we just sort of rub at it and rub at it, same technique, slightly rubbing at it, and that all comes up rather nice. And it is kind of cool because it does bring out the detail, because you know it started off all that kind of black dusty sort of looking thing. Well, when you rub at it, you can't get into all the nooks and crannies. So all the nooks and crannies, hopefully you're just seeing inside there, you know, that kind of black dustiness sort of stays behind, stays in nooks and crannies, and it gives it that extra bit of life. But what we're going to do here is we're going to take our iron 202 by Mr. Metal Colour. We're going to do the whole biting point thing, pressing down for air. You slowly pull back until you just start to get that paint just come out, and we're just going to do the tips, right? Nice and gently get your biting point, just like so. I'm just going to very lightly get the tips. Ooh, don't want to drop it. Get the tips, and this will just add another. Oops, I've sprayed a little bit too much there than I'd actually like to. But yeah, we just get the tips all the way around. Right, cut to air just to dry that off. Right, and as you can see, I mean, we've got this sort of dusty looking sort of effect going on the ends, but what we do is we come in again with the cloth and we just give that a light rub. Right, we start off nice and light, keep rubbing at it, and hopefully what you'll see is the tips just end up being that little bit of a different colour, right? And it just kind of gives our little exhaust cans more than just one colour going on, right? Maybe just kind of do right on the tips just to shine them up. And it's one of these things, the more you sort of rub at it, the more it does seem to shine up, right? So it could be a case of, you know, if you kind of just rub it a little bit, you get a slightly different effect. If you keep on rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing at it, it gets really sort of shiny. I mean, I don't want it to be mega shiny. I mean, it is just an exhaust can. Right, and at the end we can do some more weathering with this to sort of enhance it a little bit more, but there you go, adding a different colour just on the tips. Ooh, I've already done the other one as well. Nice little colour, just adds that little bit more. So that is them. Also with these natural metal finishes, you may or may not already know, but if we go off and we put a gloss coat on this, ready for decaling, although we ain't got to put any decals on. If we glue it on and then at the end we do a whole matte coat all over it, what's going to happen is it's going to take away that natural metal finish a bit. So it's kind of up to you if you want it to sort of blend in with the model a little bit, you know, glue it on, do your gloss coats, do your matte coats, fine. If you want to sort of keep this full on natural metal finish that would go in on here, you can get away with just absolutely not putting any gloss coats on, no matte coats. Right at the end, when everything's all done, you just glue it on your model. It's totally and utterly up to you. You do sort of keep that natural metal finish, as I say, if you don't do all those spraying on. So I'm just going to put them to one side. So one other thing we need to take care of now is our airbrush. Our airbrush has got all this natural metal finish, lacquer-based paints in here, and they don't go well, as we've already established, with acrylic based paint, so we need to clean this out. So I'm going to get some cellulose thinners for this, and actually just cleaning this out is probably a good idea to have face mask and a distractor fan on, because we're cleaning out lacquer based paint and we are using a lacquer based thinners. Getting a kitchen paper towel, we do the usual process of, we can sort of, you know, pinch the one end, we sort of pull back the trigger, we gurgle it up, right, cleaning out all those internal parts. Right, and then we can tip it upside down to make sure any bits are going to be coming out the colour cup end. The cellulose thinners is nicely going to clean this up all good and very sort of quickly, because it is pretty strong stuff. Right, and then we can just blast, well, we could probably do another gurgle, and then we can sort of blast through any sort of paint that's in there until plain and simply we're starting to spray out clear thinners. Right, so the next thing we want to do is, we've got all cellulose based thinners and paint, well, we should just have cellulose thinners just in here. When we start using enamels, I mean, we're going to be doing a gloss coat next, it's going to sort of react funny, so what I like to do is I then like to clean out my airbrush with our airbrush cleaner, which is, you know, going to be acrylic based. And this, what this basically does is cleans out all the cellulose thinners, the lacquer based thinners. Right, so our airbrush is now starting to think acrylics again, water based paints. Right, because trust me, if you sort of just clean your airbrush like that and start throwing in acrylic based paints, you're going to get all sorts of nasties going on, clogging up paint, and potentially like an oil to water type effect as well. So I do like to do that, and you could probably do it, you know, a fair bit. The process, actually, you could probably do the same process with before you actually start spraying these lacquer based paints, is to actually clean your airbrush out with cellulose thinners before you start using these natural metal finishes, just to get your airbrush again thinking for the thinking, you know, that it's going to be spraying lacquer based paints and vice versa. So just remember to keep things nice and clean and using the right cleaners, depending on the different types of paints you're going to be using. I mean, the same goes for like using enamels. You know, you want to be cleaning out your airbrush with an enamel based thinners before you use enamel based paints, and then you want to clean your airbrush out, enamel based thinners, and then again, you know, come back to your acrylic base cleaner just to clean out the, you know, enamel based thinners you've been using. So it's just that process of making things clean, because I always say it, you know, 9 times out of 10, the one problem you're most likely going to have with your airbrush, if it's doing anything funny, is just give it a good clean.